in the world and seeing systems being even more strict, and the internet is becoming less free and all of that. Like how do we deal with this? Like, okay, my vision is not necessarily coming into this physical reality yet, and sometimes I feel like what I'm doing is useless because I just don't see it over time developing into something, let's say, better for humanity.
Yeah,
What is it that
yeah,
needs to be really changed, and how are you dealing with this kind of like lack of coherence?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it can be really unmotivating to see the lack of engagement around that. So I think I think people live their lives following and doing what everyone else is doing, and instead of questioning and seeing things that they may not agree with, and then doing something about it.
Mm,
Because there are already many solutions that exist um, for us to keep our freedom in a world that's increasingly becoming less free, like the internet. So I focus on solutions,
okay.
and so um, for that, yeah, the whole concept of the post web I think is really smart because eventually, if things keep going the way they're going and we lose more and more freedom online, the internet is going to suck, and it's already doing that. Like I'm not on social media,
Mm-hmm.
for example. So one solution, since I'm not on Instagram, because Instagram is where so many people are, it's great for business, for connecting with friends, putting the work out there. Um, so since I don't have that, I use Noster instead because it's a open source protocol, is decentralized. There's peer-to-peer transactions happening. So if I post something, someone can support my work directly peer-to-peer by the push of a button, wallet to wallet, in units of Bitcoin. So that's already a step up from these centralized big tech social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's no algorithm, there's no censorship, and actually there's a structure so that it's censorship resistant. And it's not necessarily owned by, no one really owns it in the way that a corporation owns a social media platform. So the level of freedom is amazing. Not only that, but there's more power to the people. We transact one to one. We can support each other that way, and I think it's already a level up. So
Mm-hmm.
I just look for solutions like that. Same thing with another way to transact privately is Monero. Of course, we have the song "Pay Me a Monero,"
Yeah.
and so that's a solution for um, transacting online in a private way, just like cash for the digital world. Um, and then I think now it's was developing our mesh networks. So the next internet is going to be offline through mesh networks, and there's going to be antennas spread throughout. So we'll be able to communicate in a decentralized, open source, peer-to-peer manner, whether it's in the city or in off-grid communities. And we'll be able to communicate directly one-to-one without the internet and without all the dystopia that's creeping on the internet. So solutions are being built. People are working on all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, I think it's about being solution driven,
Mm-hmm.
applying it, developing it, because I think step by step, more people will join and step in as more dystopia happens. So, yeah, and I call it the Newtopia.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so like, we have the potential to really live an amazing world on Earth, and I don't want to give that vision up because I know it's possible.
Yeah. Totally. I feel you, and I feel this more when I connect with people like you. with a very wide and deep vision of the future potential that we're walking towards. What is that notion of post web? It's the first time it's been mentioned in this podcast series, and I'm grateful that you did. What's your understanding of it?
So, yeah, my understanding of it is kind of what I was saying now with being able to communicate, being community, and focusing on local. So, local could mean growing fruit trees, vegetables, um, being in communities locally, and then communicating locally through each device is a different node on the mesh network. So basically, we're communicating like it's the internet, but it's not the internet. Um, so it's completely off grid communication, off grid kind of food planting and living, maybe trading, bartering, using different forms of financial um, or whether it's cryptography or different ways of transacting. And so it's a way to, for those who don't want to live in a dystopian world and who want to create a beautiful world. So there's various movements for that. There's a movement called solar punks. And so, yeah, it's this idea of instead of the cyberpunk dystopian future, it's like this utopian future in nature where technology is used in a conscious way. People are growing, their own food and things like that. Everything is local. Um, and then the idea of lunar punk is connected to the post web in terms of understanding the necessity for privacy and how privacy is a fundamental human right. And then, so yeah, and it's also is wide open for us to create. So there's no defined way to explain it yet because we're creating it. There's also the term parallel society, which I think kind of mirrors the idea in terms of creating a parallel system to the dystopian system. So a system where we can keep our human dignity, where we're not surveilled on and spied on every second, where we can still feel like we're human and not just you know trapped in a smart home inside of a smart city where everything is surveilled and tracked, because then life starts to feel like an open prison.
Oh
And
yeah.
so yeah, and so a lot of people don't want to live like that. For those that do, you know, the world is going in that direction, but a lot of us just want to be free, like we've a lot of the freedoms we've enjoyed until now, for them to disappear is kind of sad in a world that's supposed to evolve. Or if humanity, are we evolving or devolving? And from what I'm seeing, we could be evolving, but because of what's imposed on us through laws and big corporate interests and all those things going on, it looks to me like we're devolving into this sci-fi world that's been expressed and detailed in all these films for so long, that are being and these things being implemented